Hello, 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 hello. Oh my god, what is this? Your mic is some crap. I have no idea what it's saying about my mic. Anyway, welcome to Moral High Ground. I thought I was recording. I wasn't recording. My system is jacked, y'all. It really is because I had to redo everything. Recreate all kinds of crap. I'm not explaining to you in any other simpler term. Um, but yeah, so welcome to Moral High Ground today. And what we're talking about today, once again, is the homeless crisis. I have multiple video things to talk about, and in a couple days I'll be talking about UAPs, which is unidentified phenomenons. There's a big thing tomorrow on C-SPAN by the United States government where they're confessing all these alien activities, UFOs, which they don't call them UFOs no more. It's called in something something. They changed the whole terms of these things. You no longer say UFO, you say UAP. You no longer say UFO, extraterrestrials, you say something else. So it's a whole different term now of how you phrase aliens and alien contact. But we're not talking about that right now. What we're going to be talking about is this, but that's tomorrow. If you go to C-SPAN, it's a nationwide thing. It's going to be played everywhere. The government finally wants to admit alien activities, or extraterrestrial beings, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the proper term is anymore, because like everything else, they had to correct the word and make you feel like you're saying things unpolitically correct. So it's the truth, man. It's the truth. So here's the problem. So this homeless situation that went a little out there. So I got multiple videos explaining the current situation of what's happening in the city of Portland. Multiples where I'm going to react to. I'm going to explain my 2 cents on how I feel. So one with the mayor and a couple other things. And we're just going to go with it. So, welcome to Moral High Ground, where we're talking about what's morally right to you, to me, to the rest of the world. You make your own opinion if you think it's right or wrong. I just clearly state how I feel. It's no big judgment. I'm not trying to belittle people, but I'm just trying to bring realism to it. And I'm trying to make awareness of the fact that the little guy gets stomped on all the time by the big guy. And the big guy being people with power, and the little guy being normal citizens that's trying to live their life. And so this is what I'm talking about. And so anyway, let's just jump into it. So they're talking about this shelter that's just got made in Portland, and what we have is multiple videos of this shelter and what's going on with it. And it's crazy. It's really crazy. So here we go.
Strongly against it, vehemently against it.
And just 4 hours from now, a controversial shelter in Northwest Portland's Pearl District is set to open its doors to the community for the first time. It comes just days after the site was vandalized and amid sharp criticism from some neighboring families and business owners. The shelter is at Northwest 14th and Northrop, just east of I-405 and a few blocks west of Union Station and Nato Parkway. There are several other sites that serve the homeless population in the Pearl District already, including a safe rest village, day shelters, and a navigation center, only some of which are run by the city. Neighbors have told K2 they feel the area is becoming oversaturated with resources. Good afternoon. Thanks so much.
So, just in that little phrase alone, you have many things. Some say the place was vandalized by neighbors and business owners. And there's also something that have to do with the business owner that's right next door to this newfound shelter that they just created, where the guy went to City Hall, set up a tent, and complained about it. And as soon as he did that, they arrested him. Now, if it was the other way around, he wouldn't have got arrested. If it was homeless people, they would have never got arrested. That's how backwards the system is. For many years now, and I'm not saying like, 2 years ago, 3 years, or 4 years ago, for a long time now, we're talking like 10, 15 years, I've noticed a shift in logical thinking, and proper etiquette, and the shift of what we normally knew to be wrong. And I have to say we, as in people that are older, like around my age, in their 40s, 50s, whatever, that we know to be normally right and wrong, has changed to and people older than 50s and stuff. You know, we all know what's right and wrong, but the younger generation doesn't. And they don't understand that. One of the ways of realizing it is some of the things that considered to be right now to people were wrong back then. You know, the gay movement, for example, was, you know, it got accepted. You know, to them it's been around forever. Oh yeah, gay rights, da da da. But when I was a kid, when most people were young, back in the 90s, 80s, and so forth, it was against the law. It was legal crime. And honestly, a person that thinks about it, you know, at least back then, and even now, in some people's minds, it's certain things you don't talk about. You don't talk about having, you know, intercourse with animals. So you don't talk about that with children. You don't talk about eating people. You know, I mean, these are things you don't talk about. These are things you don't do, don't act, don't think about. So homosexuality used to be one of those things. And the way it's glorified now, it's something totally different. It's like, wow, but, you know, but the new generation accepts it because that's all they know. They're coming up in a time period where it was right. So it makes it really complicated to understand that people that are older know certain ways of thinking that the younger generation doesn't. I was just using the gay thing as an example, but I'm right on the money with what I'm talking about too. So anything that happens in the city now that is logically right to you is wrong to the city. And that's how it's been for many years. And so this guy got arrested for it and for protesting against this shelter. I got that video too. I'm going to play it. But right now, I'm going to play this and explain why it's wrong, the shelter, and what's wrong about the shelter and what's good about the shelter. So here we go.
Thanks for joining us for KT News at 4. I'm Deborah Nam.
And I'm Steve Gunn. Over the next 5 minutes, we're going to break down the controversy over this site, crime data we have obtained about the areas near other new shelters, and the status of Portland Mayor Keith Wilson's promise to end homeless camping in the city before the end of the year.
KT's Thunby Verma joins us live outside the shelter right now. So Thunby, some people have made it clear they don't want it there.
I mean, the easiest way to...
Oh, crap, these commercials. They're like, I don't know. I can't stand them. It's pop up. I mean, I could pay. I just want people gotta live, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's get past this. Click out thing. Okay, boom. Up. Turn the volume back up. Boom. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, they did, Deb. In fact, the City of Portland folks who are running the shelter say there was anti-shelter graffiti. And when we spoke to people in the community, they also shared some anti-shelter sentiment.
Starting off, this will be a place for up to 40 people to lay their heads at night. By October, that number will rise to 100, and then eventually it'll be 200. But with more beds comes less excitement from the residents that we spoke to.
So before you even get to the residents thing, here's a problem. You saw how close knit tight those beds are. There's going to be conflicts with homeless people, other homeless people, over their stuff being taken or touched. There's going to be stuff over people who don't bathe. There's all kinds of issues right there. Another issue is that they don't have to be that close. They could, you know, they're going to show a different angle of the shelter where there's space. There's tons of space. You can move beds up against walls. You got some in the middle. You know, you don't have to have them that close. You know, not everybody's codependent. You know what I'm saying?
Our neighborhood has really been hit hard over the last 5 years with fentanyl, with crime, with broken windows, endless broken windows, lots of fentanyl, defecation on the sidewalks. This shelter is just going to make it so much worse.
Too much.
So everything this woman just said is exactly the problem. People defecate in the street all over the place. They're crapping in the street, pissing everywhere. To the point, pissing and shitting in the street is normal, no matter what you look like. There's even cases where they're walking around with their asses hanging out, like literally pulling their pants down, their asses down, or their, you know, junk is hanging out, whatever junk it is. It might be some old boobies, some prehistoric boobies, somebody running around there dingling out, running around, You know, there's all this chaos, okay? There's this nastiness. And then, you know, they're going in public places and, you know, they're bathing themselves in drinking fountains, fucking big ass fountains. Like this nasty stuff. And I'm not just saying this crap. I've seen this crap happen. You're just like, what the hell? Like someone jumped up literally in one of those drinking fountains in the park and they were like, it's crazy. But that's the problem you have. So the area that they're putting this shelter in, you know, like they said, there's multiple shelters around the area. There's one big one in one area down here. There's another one not too far up, right where they were saying Nato Parkway. There's one big one. There's one right not too far from it. This is like a jump over the train station. Bang. And they had just built 100 and I think it was 100 and something rooms. Because they built like apartment set on top of the shelter. So there's like, I don't know, 100 to 90 rooms, I think it was. And then on top of that, there's another shelter. There's another one, not too far. Plus, like, I don't know, I think that's like 4, 5 blocks down and like north of that area, there's like it's like kind of like a soup kitchen / shelter thing. There's multiple places, and so yet they continue to make more. But the thing is, they're not helping these people. It's just a thing of trying to make it look like they're doing something.
Of any one group of people in an area for the purpose of treating them when they need treatment is just too much for your average community. But that's why I say spreading out the services is so important.
Though the city says the community will actually become even better, in part because they'll be providing resources that'll help shelter goers get their lives back on track. On Wednesday, the city will open up a day center on 6th and Gleason. Shelter goers can take the streetcar to get access to a slew of resources.
Some behavioral health addictions.
So, even before they get to the behavioral health addictions, he just said, so the thing too about this shelter is a night shelter. Okay, here's the problem with the night shelter and the day shelter. The night shelter says, okay, you can only be here at night. You know, you got to be here at a certain time at night, or you can't get in. And once you're up in the morning at 8 o'clock or whatever in the morning time, you got to go. Okay, it's not a night shelter where, oh, you just come home at night and rest here. No, it's a night shelter where you can only stay one night if you can make it. You know what I'm saying? The next morning you gotta go. People don't want that. Then the day shelter is a thing where you just go there during the day, you can hang out. It's not really a place where, you know, you're staying stable. So it's just a place for the fact that they can't keep you in 24 hours at the night shelter place. You know, so they need to put you in the other place. It doesn't make too much sense, and it's actually illogical, because why would you go to the day shelter if you spent time at the night shelter? And the night shelter won't let you stay there. The day shelter, you're going to be there during the day. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these people have a lot of stuff with them. Some of them lost a lot of stuff. They had to give away a lot of stuff or whatever. But at the same time, these people are moving back and forth because you're saying, okay, this is a day place, this is a night place, but none of it's stable. There's none of it is a place where they can, you know, sit for a while, maybe nest if you want to call it that, you know, and just, you know what I'm saying, try to rebuild their life bit by bit. And the shelters are saying, okay, we're giving you places to stay, we're giving you resources, there's jobs, papers, apprenticeship things they try to offer, like apprenticeship classes on plumbing, welding, all kinds of stuff, construction, all these type of things. But the homeless people don't get it. Some people do. Some homeless people do. They got to drive, they want to survive, and some don't, you know. And then they also have other people come in, do little things like banks will say, okay, we're doing this offer. That way they can get, you know, clients to come in and open bank accounts, and they try to offer things to these homeless people and give them a low rate bank account that starts only with $20. You put $20 in the account, bang, you got a bank account, you know, and so forth. You know, they got all these little things they offer, but the homeless people don't seize it because, once again, they're drug addicted. And this is probably the part they're going to talk about right here.
services, housing services that we're trying to get in and get people into, things like identification development. So one of the things that we have had pretty significant problems with this population of homeless folks is not having ID. And that really is a barrier to being able to apply for grants, apply for Medicaid.
So before we get into anything with that, the reason why a lot of homeless people don't have IDs is because they committed crimes or they're hiding from the law and they're hiding in plain sight. And so they don't have these IDs and stuff. There was a situation where a cop was given an ID from a homeless person, and that homeless person's name was fake on the ID because they just want a name. They don't want your social security card. They don't want your ID or birth certificate or anything. They just give us a name. We'll make a card for you. That way you can get mail here or whatever. And the guy gave him some dumb name like Duke Wellington or some crap, which is not his name. And people were sitting there like, okay, this is a fake name. Or no, they thought it was his name, but the cop was like, this is a fake name. But there was one individual that kept believing that it was his real name. And it turned out to be stupid. Or that person turned out to be stupid for believing that. But this is the reason why a lot of them don't have ID, and in some cases they don't have ID because they trusted the wrong person, they took their wallet or their purse or whatever, and used that ID to do illegal things with. And so those people are try to get their ID. So in some cases this helping them with ID thing works. But literally if you're trying to run around, by law, you've got to have your ID. Cops pull you over, stuff like that, or you need to buy cigarettes or something, or how old are you, crap like that. Even though I hate that shit. There are people younger than me that go, I gotta get an ID. And I'm thinking, what the hell do I look like? A 20-year-old? Like 14. And I usually say that, I'm like, I'm 14. And they're like, what the hell? Right? Because I get tired of people asking me, just give me a pack of cigarettes or whatever I'm trying to drink. It's that simple. Anyway, there we go.
And coming up at 5 p.m., why some business owners tell us they're scared this place is going to hurt their bottom line. Reporting live in the Pearl District, Tanvi Verma, K2 News.
Tanvi, thank you.
So what she's saying that she's trying to, I don't really like her body language there because it's like, okay, there's people that say this will hurt their bottom line, There's a reason why for that, because these people were living in this place for a long time, and here this people come and build this night shelter which doesn't hold any kind of, that's not good. It's just not, because it's just going to say here's another place homeless people can hang in front of, because they're not really going to be in the building, you understand? They're going to be waiting in a line to get in the building at night, at a certain time at night, to go to sleep. And some people, because they have nowhere to go during the daytime, they can go to the day shelter if they want, but because they want to be in here at a certain time at night, they're going to hang out in front of this place all day. That's what the people are fearing. They're fearing that these people are going to hang out all day. They're going to trash the neighborhood, which they will. Like the other woman said, they defecate in the streets. They'll do drugs in the streets. They're selling drugs. They're getting high. They're doing perverted crap in front of the building. And people are tired of it. And they leave garbage and trash all over the place. It's just like, it's just crazy. I don't even have a phrase for it, but it ain't right. Okay? So anyway, here we go.
K2's on your side giving you context on how the city is managing this new shelter and others like it. The shelter is co-ed. It'll have 40 beds to start, up to 100 beds by October, and it is a low barrier shelter, which means it does not require sobriety, though drugs are prohibited.
So here's the thing. Right there, there's the problem. Number one problem, what she said. It does not require sobriety. If it does not require that, that means there's going to be problems. That means people are going to come in there loaded, and they're going to start fights with people that are maybe just homeless because they lost their house or they lost their job and lost their house and now they're homeless, and they're going to fight with them and tear them down, break them down. It's just the whole thing isn't right. So if it doesn't require sobriety, that means you're like, oh, let's come on in, we're cool, but you're not, because it's unsafe. It makes it an unsafe environment. How many people that has in history or in American history who's been whacked out on drugs that thinks he's rational and has weapons on him and does irrational things when they feel disrespected or not treated fairly? Okay, that's the problem.
Northrop Shelter will also use a reservation system. That's where people are guaranteed their bed from the night before for the next night. The city says people are discouraged from lining up more than an hour before it opens every night at 8. It'll close at 6 a.m. the next day.
Okay, so there she says that, people have a reservation thing, and you go in one night, you can come in the next night. They're saying discouraging them to be in line before 8 o'clock or 8:30, whatever. They're still going to do it. Even if they're not right in front of that building, they're going to be behind the building somewhere. After a while, that rule will break off, because I notice every time they make these rules with the homeless, they don't stick with them. And somehow the rules get broken, and people start doing whatever the hell they want anyway. This is why they need to open other shelters, because one shelter has already got ran through the mud and destroyed. So this is another issue. That's a flaw. Yeah, I might be sitting there saying, okay, this is, bad, but, you have to look at the negative. You have to look at both angles. Yes, the positive part is, okay, yes, you're giving them a place to sleep for a night, but it's not stable enough for them to come in every night. There should be a shelter that can keep them there until they can find housing, and not just keep them in there and let them sit around and be high, because it doesn't require sobriety. You need to have a place where it's rehabilitating them to be able to live in a house. Okay, they have to learn again how to do certain things, how to pay bills, how to wash dishes, how to treat neighbors, how to be respectful towards other people, how to not let things go out of hand when you're dealing with your guests or your friends or whatever want to come over that don't have that rehabilitation sense. So there's just a lot of stuff here that doesn't add up.
And excuse me.
Oh, shit. These commercials suck.
Is my favorite classy gift to give.
I'm not getting promoted for this. Okay.
The city has an engagement area that extends 1,000 feet from the shelter in all directions. Within that area, the city says it's working to clear unsanctioned campsites, clean up garbage, hazardous materials, and graffiti within 5 days of a report.
We can tell you that earlier this
That's just too much. Just too much. 5 days after a report, there should be a team already on it. They're not thinking of a big picture. They're thinking tiny. If this could work for a night, and maybe this could work for a night, and we could add more 100 beds, it'd be a night. But it's not gonna work. It's not gonna be, something bad's gonna happen. I feel it, because these people want homes. They want a place off the street. But if you give them a 1 day thing, that's no different than them being a couch surfer. They go into somebody's house, okay, stay there for 1 day or two. Then they feel disrespected, and then they kick those people out, and they're back on the street again. It's no different than that. That's exactly the way you have to look at it. So, in a way, they're profiting somehow. Somehow, there's like either ID or Social Security. And that's why the guy was so serious about ID a minute ago, because they need that stuff so they can write a report and get grants off of their names. They're talking about, we can't write them a grant. They don't get grants, okay? Homeless people don't go to homeless shelters and get grants. Usually, it's the homeless shelter itself that gets grants off the fact of how many homeless people they have in the place. Non-profit organizations make way more profits than normal organizations. Okay, believe that. They make more profits than a business does, because so many people want to be charitable. Oh, I'm helping them out. It's gonna help this and that. But no, what helps in some cases is people's wallets, and that's why so many people, every now and then, when you find about these places, are committing some kind of financial fraud, because they say, hey, there's a lot of money flowing through here. No one really cares. We'll take a little bit out and then bang, there's a whole scandal. Okay, it's crazy.
year, the city opened 2 other overnight shelters, one in Old Town, the other in North Portland. Data from Portland police found fewer crimes reported within 1,000 feet of the overnight shelters in Old Town and Humboldt areas in the 6 months after they opened compared to the 6 months prior. In other words, the data suggests opening emergency overnight shelters did not lead to increased crime in a neighborhood. In fact, PPB's analysis indicates a positive shift in crime reduction. Now, critics will argue that has to do with the...
So, what they're saying, okay, it has not made crime increase at night. Well, yeah, because if you added more shelters at night, The only thing good about that is because it gets really crazy at night with, overdoses, people getting tagged, women getting, taken advantage of physically, SA'd, or women SAing somebody. So many things that's bad happens at night. So yeah, so it's gonna go down in those areas because those people have found a way to get off the street for one night. But in the long run, this night thing is not gonna work. I'm telling you, it has to have a 24-hour place they can call a spot. And yeah, you don't want to make places like where it's jailed in, but I believe if you made a shelter where everyone had like little tiny individual rooms, then that'll work. Instead of just having them all plumped together in beds right next to each other, that's not going to work. Either someone snores too loud and bothers someone else, someone smells bad, or someone else has a mental issue. It's going to all clash. It's not like you're making a military team and they're going together and they're like, yeah, we can get in there and we can stop. No, they're not doing that. It's something totally different.
Reduction in crime reports and not crime itself. Last month, Portland Mayor Keith Wilson said he encourages everyone to report crime when they do see it.
As we mentioned, Mayor Wilson is striving to end unsheltered homelessness in the city by the end of the year. He's trying to create 1,500 overnight shelter beds by December 1st. He wants to open another 20 shelters in the next few months and is promising more resources in neighborhoods with overnight shelters to help keep crime in check. The city...
So the pause on that. That's the next video I'm talking about after I talk about the day shelter. And the thing about it is because this mayor makes no sense. After I showed a couple weeks ago of them having $724 million of money to help the homeless, where they created supposedly 500 organizations to help the homeless, which is not a thing in the city of Portland, or they would not be advertising that they just opened 3 night shelters, overnight shelters. Okay, if it was a thing, there would be no homeless people at all in the streets of Portland. There'd be drug facilities for people in the streets of Portland. If there was 500 complete all over the place, there's not. And now he's sitting there saying, okay, he wants to be, you can look at it, it's right here on the screen. They want 1,500 overnight beds by December 1st. They want 630 beds, in January, before January, seen in January. What is with this? If you had $724 million, why isn't this done already? And here's the kicker. Here's the kick in the jaw, the kick in the face. This dude wants you to donate money. It has been advertised. I showed it. If you don't believe me, go a couple videos back for the past 2 weeks, and you will see they have so much money. And where's that? Oh, I went to 500 organizations. What organizations? Since when is there 500 organizations? How come no one's in the street talking about it? How come people ain't talking about it through anything? Because it's not real. It never happened.
We'll have added 630 shelter beds since the start of the year, once this new site is at full capacity.
We want to know what you think about all this. What do you think about the city's efforts to handle?
So I'm skipping past that video. So we know what this is about now. That was a night shelter type of thing. And like I said, this mayor is a joke by even suggesting that. So let's see here. It's not that one. That's the mayor. What's this low bearing? Ain't that what I just showed? What the hell? It's this one. It's one of these damn things. I don't know where I do it. Yeah, it's this one. So, okay. So now this one here is the alternative shelter from the night shelter that they were just talking about, the overnight shelter they created. And so when they're done being there overnight, they're supposed to go to this place during the day. Pull it back a bit. And here we go.
Tell me they're thankful for the shelter, citing safety as their biggest reason. As for the low turnout, the city tells me, frankly, they were expecting fewer people than 13 on the first night. They believe those numbers will grow very soon.
On Northwest 14th and Northwest,
the thing is safety.
Kyle Reed is waiting for the doors to open at this new overnight shelter.
Very thankful. Whoever's putting this on,
Reed says this low barrier shelter helps him stay sober.
And I keep a different routine, honey. I'm an addict. That's the thing about us people.
The shelter opened for the first time Tuesday night after months of preparation and pushback from some neighbors. City officials tell us 13 people slept here, including some who'd been sleeping on the streets but had never stayed at an overnight shelter before. They call that a big win. For Wade,
are you going to go back there tonight?
Yeah, I probably am.
The shelter made a big impression.
Because I was always been homeless since I was 12. And that's the only thing I call home.
On Wednesday, Wade and others came here, the new day center on Northwest 6th and Gleason. That's about a mile away from the overnight shelter. The city is contracting with...
Now just look at it. So this place here, this day center, you can tell there's no shelter above. It's just like a big park to them. They made some kind of little area for them to hang out. Portland's not a sunny city. It's not like Miami Beach or, you know, somewhere in California, you know, Daytona Beach or something, where there's sunlight all the time and girls in bikinis and crap. There's not sunny crap going on around here, okay? This city is always gloomy with chances of rain. It's a rainy city. It's always cloudy. Like what you're seeing right now in the sky, this is what it always looks like here. Except for days where it really is sunny and then it looks bright and, you know, you want to jump out and sing Brady Bunch songs like Sunshiny Day, you know. But this is what it looks like. And so I'm going to tell you exactly what this is. This area, okay, and I told this story a billion times. I think I actually told it a couple weeks ago. This is the area where they had the tiny homes. They had the tiny homes in there, and they had all these people around this area with tents wrapped all around this gated area. And the people that were wrapped around the gated area in the tents, their buddies were living in the tiny homes. So there was girls, there was guys in tents all outside, thinking, okay, hey, we can live in tents around here because, hey, my friends that's homeless now got a place inside this tiny homes things. The tiny home areas are a little bit more regulated now, where they have people that actually manage them, I think. But, you know, because some people say there's rules, you know, I forget people told me, like, there's a rule, I have to be here at this time. And I said, okay, so that's what they do now with tiny homes. But when this stuff was originally put there, they just put these tiny homes. Their homeless friends would put tents around and terrorize anybody that walked by, like, you don't belong here type of thing. No, you still don't belong here, because the people who belong here are the ones that's in the tiny homes inside the gate. But now all that's gone, and so now what you have is this new day shelter that makes no sense, because where is the shelter? Okay, it's a rainy city. I'm telling you, it's going to rain today. Chances of rain at 4 o'clock. It's 2 something now. Next hour is going to be rain.
Urban Alchemy to run the day center, which offers several amenities.
The outhouses and the showers and the bathrooms.
Bob Upton already loves it.
Hey bro, is there hot chocolate? Yeah. I want 2 cups.
Besides adding more overnight shelters, the mayor's plan to address homelessness calls for adding 1 new day center in each of the city's 4 districts.
So this Alchemy place, they're calling it Urban Alchemy is the name of this agency, and it's supposed to be a new homeless shelter thing. They are not just, I have to give them a little credit, because they don't just try to help homeless people, they actually try to employ them. So most of these people that you see, some of them were homeless and now they're employed. And that's a good thing, you know. Whatever money, resources they get in, they're getting to help these people. Now, the situation once again, day shelter, night shelter, but I'm not trying to laugh at this situation, I'm laughing at myself. But anyway, because I just don't dig it. I think they need a spot that they own to be in, but they need to be rehabilitated. The shelter should be the chance of making them understand the difference between living in a residential area and living off the streets. It should also be a chance, opportunity, a gateway to try to find jobs and the medical resources someone needs to be able to better themselves and can make themselves more healthier and wiser with how they handle their money too. Yeah, You know, that's what they should be. That's what shelters should be. On top of them just being able to live in a place where they can sleep and eat and shower and so forth.
Will include mobile behavioral health and other rotating services and will open from 6 a.m. to 10 at night. Randy Lucht says he's been waiting for something like this.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good start, because it gives people a place to be and not be like in violation of trespassing or loitering.
Back at the shelter.
Each one of us has problems.
Capacity is at 40. The city expects to meet that in a couple weeks as word about the shelter spreads and trust among guests grows.
So look at it right here. And they got all these beds in the middle. Look at all that space and a wall back there. All these wall spaces. You could take some of these beds and put them up against the wall, and then spread them out a little bit further. Give these people more room and space. So that's one thing I noticed when it comes to homeless people is that they've been in so much shit. That some of them been in so much shit that they will literally stay away from everybody. They'll stay away from the homeless people. It's on the street like them. They'll stay away from regular people, everybody, and they will put a tent somewhere, or try to put their little area that they built out of whatever. It could be cardboard, it could be boards, it could be cans, or whatever the hell it is. Bike parts, whatever they do. Tarps and stuff, and they'll put it away in a distance away from people. And you'd be like, well, why is that guy way over there and the rest of them are over there? Because they separated. He doesn't want to be a part of that, or she doesn't want to be a part of that, and that's the situation. But to be this close, if codependent, something ain't right, they could put a bed over here. I don't know what this structure is on this side right here, but yeah, it could give some room, especially if you want to put 100 more beds in this one area. This is insane. You'd have to make bunk beds to make it work. But anyway.
Eventually, up to 200 guests will be allowed to sleep here. Time will tell if they will. You may have noticed the day center on Gleason looked a little paltry. The city says today was just their soft launch. In fact, they're asking for donations from the public to help fill it out. They printed a list on their website with things like picnic tables, outdoor games, and decorative lighting. David?
Yeah, thank you.
And see, it doesn't work. They're thinking they live in some kind of, what's the reality here? Where's the logic here? It's fall, September, so it's fall. Even though I know the World Series happens like soon, it's still fall. And that means it's winter's right around the corner. And because it's fall in the city of Portland, it will start raining. The sun's gonna last for a while. It's still gonna look like summertime here and there. But eventually the rain's going to come and their day center is going to go to shit. These board games you're talking about in the middle of the sun, come on now. That's ridiculous. They need shelter to play those board games. At least make it like one of those basketball courts. It'll be like in some parks there's a basketball court and they have a big old, I don't know what you call it, shelter structure around so you can keep playing ball through the rain and all that, man. Make one of those. Make a couple of those. And make it to where you can have those, like, the Japanese have those doors that you can pull and it will turn into a wall. Do that, and that'll make more sense than just having it wide open and stuff. And that way that actually is a day center, because maybe some people want to actually sleep during the day, not just walk around because the sun's out. They want to sit in a spot that's shaded and cool, and that'll work. But once again, no one's really thinking here. But I would say if the day shelter wanted to stay open, they need to build something like that. So there's that part of what I was talking about. Let's see. So the next thing, and like you already heard about the donations right there. So the next thing is to go into this guy. We're gonna go to this mayor part real quick first, and explain what the hell his problem is. And this donation thing that is stupid. After, like I said, just $724 million. That's a lot of fucking money.
Imagine being able to build it.
Please, no commercials. Get past that commercial. I don't know what's happening.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list.
Oh my God.
Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep things on track. I create custom statuses to organize my progress exactly how I want it.
Get rid of that, okay. Alright, so here we go. Here's the situation.
Homeless people stay there. It currently has room for 40.
So here we go. Here's this thing again with the homeless shelter. Now this time, we're not just talking about the night shelter. They're not just talking about the day shelter. What they're talking about is what the mayor's ingenious plan is to house more people and to create more shelters and more beds. Like I said, 1,500 new shelters by December. 630 beds by January. Why hasn't he done this the whole time? Who the hell knows? But I would think it's the pressure that Trump is supposed to be coming to Portland to help to solve the homeless situation, when his whole thing seems like a threat to a lot of people with whatever's going on in DC. So here we go. Here's the thing. But once again, it's greed, because 724 million that they just mentioned not even 2-3 weeks ago, because I just covered it, you know. And it's like all of a sudden you guys forgot that you said the city of Portland had got $724 million, and now this guy's wanting donations from people when the cost of living is unaffordable for a lot of people, on top of food and everything else. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, in his latest move to address homelessness in the Rose City this week, Portland Mayor Keith Wilson is asking for help from you. He sent out this 9-page document listing what he needs in donations to reach his shelter goals. The mayor is trying to open 1,500 new emergency overnight shelter beds by December 1st to end unsheltered homelessness, an ambitious and lofty goal. With about 3 months to go, he's at 630 beds opened. The latest beds opened this week in the Pearl District at this shelter on Northwest Northrop Street. It has been met with major pushback from the neighborhood. Over the weekend, someone even went as far to tag it with graffiti, spray painting messages targeted at the mayor. On the first night, 13 homeless...
There it is right there. It says, Mayor. The guy's got the... ruined lives. Ruined his lives. It's kind of funny, but I didn't ever notice it the first time. But yeah, this guy doesn't make sense. I'm telling you, that's a lot of stuff you're trying to put on the citizens now. You know, if you would have done this from the beginning, and he's not the mayor, he's actually, well, he is the mayor, but I'm saying he's not the original one that let the city go to shit. You know, there's like 2 or 3 mayors I can name off that has let this happen. You know, and the last one, I have to give it to him, he tried, but he was just like overwhelmed with so much crap, plus everyone terrorized his home during the whole COVID crap and Black Lives Matter nonsense, set dumpsters on fire. I lived like, I don't know how many blocks away from him when that happened. I was like, what the hell's going on with this dumpster in the middle of the road and all this fire, and why is everybody out there? And they're like, oh, the mayor lives down there or some crap, and I didn't even know it. You know, some people who live in places that's famous or whatever, or popular or whatever, and you would never know it. With me, everyone knows. They done doxed me. I don't know. I don't give a shit. But what I'm gonna do, I don't like people going out and dealing with people in the first place. So, you know, I really don't like being around a lot of people. I'm not a loudmouth braggart to be out in front of people, and it just bores the hell out of me. But anyway, this is the situation. So they done made fun of him on this thing, and it gets a little bit more odd.
People stay there. It currently has room for 40. But let's get back to his ask of you. In an email to subscribers this week, he asked for help for everything from volunteering to work in shelters, furniture, food, vehicles, even money. Well, this isn't sitting right with Portland City Councilor Loretta Smith. We caught up with her today.
Well, I immediately thought that we just passed a $9.8 billion budget that has services for homeless folks, and now we're asking for additional money. I think it's great because it's a huge problem, but I think that we have already asked our residents and our neighbors for as much as they can probably bear right now.
$9.8 billion, she said, that the city has already asked for, on top of the $724 million. That's That's hitting the numbers of asking for way too much and not giving enough proof that you're doing anything with it. Not just not proving that you're not doing anything with it, but not trying to take advantage of the situation in the positive sense. As in, like, hey, we got the money, let's act now. Let's build these things, let's do this. Let's come up with a plan, execute the plan, mission complete. You know what I'm saying? No, they're not doing that. This is outrageous that this woman could actually tell you that this mayor is full of shit. And she's local government.
Now, Councilor Smith represents District 1, which includes East Portland. She points to the fact that Portlanders are already facing raised utility rates and parking fees and high taxes.
Oh crap, it's gonna cut to a commercial. But the thing, what I'm saying is this, you know, what's going on doesn't make sense. How can you ask for donations and you have such large amounts of money that came to you to help the homeless? What have you done with this money? What are you doing to the people of Portland? And not just, you know, the people that's citizens, but the homeless people on top of that. You're using them as a resource to put money in your pocket. Let's be real. This guy's not just asking for money to build shelters. He's asking for money to buy vehicles for the shelters. He's asking money for the beds, the chairs, the food, like everything. I mean, she just said a bill passed for $9.8 billion to help the homeless. On top of the $724 million that they had, that they claimed that they had created 500 organizations to help the homeless people. So where's all this money going? That's a lot of fucking money. And then on top of that, we got housing costs that are so high that regular people are ended up in the streets. Bills that are too much, like literally too much. Like I give it to PGE because they got some kind of bill where they cut your stuff in half. I'm proud of PGE. Literally, right now I'm lit up for you guys, but a little bit. My lighting system's messed up. But either way, I got technology all over this place. If it wasn't for PGE, I'd be with a bill that's like $400. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, I mean, some places like they work with people. PGE will work with you. Other places won't. They'll charge you outrageous bills, and then you got to go to the bill place. It's too much. This is not the way we should be living in a country that's supposed to be the home of the brave and free and all this crap and land of milk and honey and paved with golden streets and some shit. Okay, this is not the way it is. And if this is living, then other countries are laughing at us if they got more stuff and they don't have very less money. Like I watched, there's people on YouTube that's got videos of other countries, and you'd be surprised how they're living, but their dollar amount doesn't add up as much as ours does. You know, they're working off our money and telling us that they need help. How? You let this get this way. You let these people populate and to a point to where now it's out of your control. And then you're making it to where normal people that are living are about to be in the same situation with those people. And then once they're in that situation, you're not going to pay attention to them because you're throwing them in the same lot with the rest of them that may be doing drugs or disabled or mentally ill. So it's not a good thing.
And being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
We have to be sensitive.
So before she goes there, let's pull it back a little bit. So the thing is, okay, where's this money going? Where's this money going? And it just doesn't make any sense that the money isn't in the right hands with the right agencies helping the people. It's not. It's not a good thing at all. This is damaging. This is hurting the regular citizens. To ask for donations and you had all this money come from federal government. It's crazy, man.
We have to be sensitive to the everyday person. Just take an example of people in my district. They make a salary of $60,000 a year. They can't afford to give anymore.
They making a salary of $60,000 a year. I ain't even making that much. I can't live. They making $60,000 a year. I'm making 20, maybe 20, less than 20, 19. That's funny. Okay, I'm just saying. Shit, I'll be homeless in a bit.
Councilor Smith wants to see the mayor enforce the city's rules around homeless camping before asking the community to step in.
The mayor should be implementing the camping ban. Until he starts implementing the camping ban, he should not ask the community for additional money.
He shouldn't be asking for additional money, period. Like I said, just not last week, but the week before last, I showed you guys $724 million. And they claimed they had created 500 organizations to help the homeless people in Portland. I was going to say Oregon, but other cities or states and whatever, other cities within the state of Oregon have different ways of helping the homeless people. But Portland claimed to have created 500 organizations to help the homeless people. But now he's claiming that we need donations to make these places to help the homeless people, which tells me he's trying to cover his ass by saying, okay, hey, give us donations. He want money off the books, so if you give him donations, that's money off the books, that they can say, okay, hey, here we go, we created this shelter, that shelter, so when the people come and say, where's our money that we gave you for the homeless, why are you still asking for more money? And go, oh, well, look, we got this organization, that organization, we got this shelter, that shelter, because, hey, you guys donated it to them, so now it makes it look like they actually did something with the $724 million. Now, as for what she said about the $9.8 billion that's supposed to be coming to help the homeless, it's like, what in the hell is going on? I'm telling you, I literally did it. I did the whole math, and it does not cost that much to get land. It literally doesn't. Okay, you can get 400 acres of land does not cost any of those amounts. Maybe $1 million, $2 million at the most. Okay, the housing thing, to build a house, it doesn't take. It doesn't take millions. It takes like maybe 100,000, okay, 200,000 at the most, to get all the supplies and things you need. Maybe hire a crew, may cost a little bit more money to build houses or whatever, to even build the motels. You know, motel type houses or duplexes. If we made duplexes, I think that'd be even better. Because the duplexes are really underappreciated as a residential area thing, but I think a duplex would be more efficient for homeless people, because then you can go by 2x2 type of thing. And so you have two different sets of maybe homeless families become housed in these little duplexes. But yeah, and then you can put like natural resources there. I mean, not natural resources, but you know, medical facilities like clinics or whatever, mental health facilities. You can put a drug rehab place there. You can have a grocery store or franchise like 7-Eleven or Pad Pantry or something around. You know, add jobs, local jobs that help. You know, each job helps create the town, and so you have jobs where people are actually building places, creating things, and they're getting money because they're getting out the street. They're helping be a part of a community by getting jobs that will help build their community in a town that they're trying to create. Oregon has one thing that most states don't. It has the most ghost towns. It has over 200 ghost towns. You can look it up. I'm not lying to you. With these ghost towns, you can resurrect, or resurrect them, or you know, rehabilitate them. Not even rehabilitate them. I'm not gonna say it. Oh man, I'm talking so quick, but you can actually, you know, go back and try to do these towns over, start them over, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about terraforming, which would be another thing to do on another planet or something of that nature, or some soil that isn't bright and you need to, you know, get rid of it, whatever. But the thing I'm saying is, you could easily take these towns, resurrection, god dang it, restoration. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, okay? You can take these towns and build them again and try to make them habitable for people to live in, and then, you know, make it not just a new housing area. You can make them as a historical site that people can come visit it and say, okay, well, because the town's already known, some of them are already legal, and then bang, you got the whole society of people. We have over 15,000 homeless people now in the city of Portland. It'd be illogical to not think of trying to make these things option. And that's just my opinion.
A spokesperson for the mayor's office tells us since his election, Portlanders from across the city have reached out to ask how they can get involved. This week, we provided the opportunity. We all have something to contribute, from a bag of snacks or an hour of our time to larger, more transformational gifts. Councilor Eric Zimmerman, who represents District 4, which is downtown Portland, chiming in tonight, saying, "I'm not so sure why or to what end the mayor is asking Portlanders for more. A snack pack or an hour of volunteer time is not what our city is lacking. We are an $8+ billion organization. Portlanders have already given enough through their taxes, including Metro's supportive homeless services tax. The mayor has the tools and authority to enforce camping laws and fill the vacant shelter beds. What's needed now is follow through. Create the additional shelter spaces the council has already funded, enforce camping and drug laws, and clean up the trash that surrounds street living."
So this guy, another person, another local council member, who's once again disagreeing with the mayor. So this is what I'm saying. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. It's how can this mayor have asked people for money, and you have so many people that's supposed to be working with him against him, and at the same time, where's the money going? He said it was their $8 billion industry or whatever he was saying right here. Another woman was saying 9.8, whatever. That's a lot of freaking money still. I'm not gonna keep going on about how much money it is, because it's ridiculous that everyone needs money. They got the money, but they're using people to get the money. They're using homeless people. The homeless people are being taken advantage of in the city of Portland. That's what this means.
Now this week, the mayor's ask also came with a warning that if Portlanders don't, quote, work together by volunteering and donating, then the Trump administration could step in by sending the National Guard.
I see, that's what this comes down to. He's trying to get things done before Trump steps in. So now he's asking for donations. They've already went through some money by doing whatever it is that they're doing with this large amount of money that's not right. And this is like it ain't gonna have to be investigated. If Trump comes in and whatever's not solved, they're gonna have to be investigated. But Trump here is more of a, because people want to say it's a democratic state or city. And so all the people want to look at Trump as this big threat, this big boogeyman. But I have to say, people wanted normalcy a little bit after Biden and Kamala, because they didn't do nothing for 4 years. And then here you got Trump. He comes in, he's got a plan, he's doing stuff. Some of the stuff makes a lot of sense, and in some ways will help. Right now they might see damaging, but they will work. They will help. At least he's doing something. And the last time Trump was president, I ended up having 3 jobs. Worked one job on the weekend, one in the daytime, and one at night. I don't have no wife or kids, you know what I'm saying? So I had to try to make my money. You know what I'm saying? It's all about making money, okay? And trying to survive. And through the whole time before that, hard as hell to get jobs. As soon as this man became president, I was able to have multiple jobs. Never happened before. And for a long period of time. And so I look at that stuff. The thing I did hate about the first term that he had was getting rid of the free trade agreement, which I think is actually a flaw, because the free trade agreement brought America, Canada, and Mexico together through business. They would transfer businesses to Mexico, help them, make their economy and their country better. And Canada would do the same. They would send stuff to America that they were doing with their businesses that, might not have been known to America because they're Canadian. They're still underneath British rule. And so it's kind of like, connecting 3 different cultures and being able to make businesses be more global. The problem was later on it all changed. But the free trade agreement was created by Ronald Reagan. And that was one of his greatest accomplishments. Over the years, it got changed to where motor vehicle places left places like Detroit and moved to Mexico, created a whole bunch of mechanic places to build. And it is like overpowered all these different areas and took a lot of jobs away from the country. Not just from Mexico, but even with calling services. Telemarketing used to be a thing that was only made here in America, but then it went overseas to India, which we all know is now the main people that be like, how can I help you today? I can tell you something about my gene, you know. And you're like, okay. But it wasn't like that before. And so it's just like a lot of things that are happening happen because a lot of people sat down and didn't do nothing, and then tried to lie about it and twist the narrative to make other people look bad. Now, if people don't do nothing in a situation where people need something, then they look horrible. And that's what happened with Biden and Kamala, is they didn't do nothing and people were suffering. And, you know, they already coming out of the COVID thing. People didn't have jobs. People were trying to cope with all kinds of scenarios that was going on, you know, and they didn't help. And now we got Trump, he's back. He's trying to do certain things. With certain things you have to question, and some things you don't. So that brings me to the next thing I'm going to be talking about soon, where is Trump right or wrong? Is it morally right what he's trying to do? But back to this situation. What is this?
The idea that Donald Trump will come and put the National Guard on the residents of Oregon if they don't donate to our homeless shelters. That's ridiculous. If Donald Trump comes here, he's going to come here and deal with the unsanctioned camping that's going outside because the mayor refuses to implement the camping ban. That's why Donald Trump will bring the troops, not because our residents will not give any additional money for homelessness and shelter. That's ridiculous.
Okay, we also caught up with the head of the Portland Metro Chamber, which advocates for businesses in the region, and he has a different take on all of this.
This is crazy. Like they're ganging up on the mayor. I don't know, but she seems kind of cool. She's cool as one on here.
People have been asking, what can I do? And to have the leader of the city say, this is where we're headed, this is what needs to happen, we all need to be on board with it, we're grateful for his call to action. I think all of us are frustrated by the fact that we have poured resources, time, energy, community meetings into this issue, but right now we have a leader who is driving us towards a singular point in time with a very specific plan and who is aware of national concerns that we all...
Okay, if there's one AI site... Nah, crap. These damn commercials, man. Ruining it right up. But that's crazy. This guy is like up there in the freaking local politics. And this thing won't let me move this along. But way up there, and he's like, well, this ain't good, this ain't right. But I want to hear what the rest of you guys say, because to be honest, I only watched the part where they were saying that, you know, the mayor wanted these beds and stuff. I have not even seen that woman until now, or the guy before this. So I'm learning while I'm watching it with you guys.
Builder you need to meet. This is Dope Tech from Wix.
Share.
Now this ask from the mayor comes...
Okay, a little bit, because I'm trying to hear what he was saying.
Aware of national concerns that we all share.
Now this ask from the mayor comes the same week about 9 city employees are leaving for Europe on a taxpayer-funded work trip to study an affordable housing model called social housing.
But when you send...
So he decided to wait till the people that's going to find a better way to help the homeless situation leaves to start begging for money. Man, this is a bad sign as a new mayor. It means that you're coming off like you have malicious intent. Like there's some kind of sinister thing going on. But with you, if you wait for the people that's trying to help you solve the problem, leaves to take it upon your hands to get what you want out of the citizens of the city. It's crazy.
Portland Housing Bureau staff on a trip like this, you have to be held accountable for it. Look, it's Section 8 as far as I'm concerned. It's subsidized housing that we do through HUD. I don't need to go to Vienna to find out how to do that. Even if they come back with all the great ideas that they think they're going to come back with, we have no money. The mayor is asking for money for homelessness after we're putting over $140 million extra of city resources into homelessness on top of the money that Multnomah County gets. Now, we have to make it make sense, and none of this stuff makes sense to me.
She's the smartest person that I've heard talk. Why? Because she said exactly what I've been saying. It doesn't make sense. Okay? And if it doesn't make sense, you must have quit. Okay? This doesn't make sense. Now, she's saying they went to Vienna. Y'all went on vacation. You see what they were showing? They're making it look like a vacation spot with the Ferris wheel and all that. You know, but I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And then you're saying now there's $148 billion you got to make sense of. They're throwing out all these big numbers. It's blowing my mind. That's all I'm hearing is this money that's in mass proportion that they could do a little bit of. I mean, you really don't need that much money. You don't. I'm telling you, to build even the shelter thing, you don't need that much money. To think they forgot about SROs. Now, SROs is like an apartment complex. So some of them are older buildings, going way back. In SRO, you can move in. There's shared bathrooms though, so it's like a shower and a toilet that everyone shares, and a sink or whatever. You just have like a room, a closet. You know, you might have a sink in your place or whatever. Tiny area. Okay, it's a very tiny area, but that's an SRO. And so everyone uses a shower in the bathroom. There's not a thing where you can hog it up. So pretty much your neighbor becomes like your distant relative or something. You know, but SROs are either cheap for people or cheap and reasonably priced, which means you may pay $200 a month, maybe $80 something, depending on where it is. And it's still treated like a hotel in some places. In other places, it's not. The people can actually write some kind of thing to get you stay there for free, all that. But there's rules. You can't have certain people come in at a certain time at night. You can't have people stay overnight. You can't move nobody in without nobody knowing about it. You know, if you do, you gotta leave because it's just for you. And then plus, like I said, you're sharing with multiple people. So, you know, the most common thing is to get a significant other, and so try to move a significant other into an SRO. It becomes an issue. If that significant other is out of control or toxic in some kind of way, it will jeopardize your housing in these SROs. But an SRO is not a place to be getting that comfortable. It's a place where you have to try to get your money and stack it to where you can move into a place big enough to where you can decide if you want a significant other to start a relationship with, and maybe not have a significant other and just keep stacking your money and trying to get what you can get. This is sad. I'll say this whole situation is sad.
Okay, the mayor needed $28 million to fund his plan to open 1,500 beds in 4 day centers by December 1st. He asked the state legislature to chip in $11 million. We learned today the legislature did not give him that money. Councilor Smith believes that was driving this ask for donations. The mayor was unable to talk with us on camera today, but his office tells us he is grateful for the support of the state legislature and that this request is in no way related to state-level funding.
This is too much. He's asking for large amounts of money, man. $28 million. He wanted $11 million. They denied it, so now he wants to ask the citizens for donations. So this keeps getting more and more worse.
The response we received from the mayor's office did not mention his warning about the National Guard. But as of yesterday afternoon, about 50 people have reached out wanting to donate. Among the donations so far, phone chargers, picnic tables, and pet supplies. Portland City Councilor Olivia Clark, who represents District 4, said in a statement, the mayor's request is for help with the nonprofits serving our unhoused community, not donations to the city, so his office can help direct willing donors to the right place. It's also a call for everyone to play a part in helping with this humanitarian crisis.
This is too much to me, man. I get it now. It's like, oh, let's help with supplies and stuff, but it's not what's going down. I don't know. There's too much money going around. Too much money going around, and not enough things being done, and it's just ridiculous, man. People are out there, and some of them out there enjoying it, but they need a home. They need a spot. They need a place to call their safe spot. Okay, this is ridiculous. And people who have homes need protection from losing their homes. You know, I think that's the problem with Californians coming up buying homes and just saying the hell with it and selling them and going back to California. They did the same thing in Las Vegas. Why are you trying to make states around your state suffer the same fates as you guys? It doesn't make any sense.
He is trying to do everything possible. We need leaders to act like him. Okay, so this may rub you the wrong way. Who cares? He's working on the issue we want, and he's doing it every single day.
Among the items the mayor is asking for are chairs to replace church pews. That's to make it easier to convert churches into shelters, something the mayor has been wanting to do since he ran for office. A viewer named Catherine wrote into us about that idea, saying in part, why is Mayor Keith Wilson asking for worship chairs? Does he understand that churches don't want homeless people wandering inside their buildings looking for something to steal? This is the strangest request I've seen from a civil government official.
Wow. Wow. That woman needs to read the Bible. That woman needs to read the Bible. She needs to understand that God wants you. How's it go? I believe it's Hebrews. Hebrews in the Bible. There's a book in the Bible, and they talk about strangers might be in the company of angels. They also talk about housing, or those who open their homes are blessed, or something like that. People have preached it to me before. I can't ever say it right, because I used to be really, friendly to people. There's a lot of people out there that know me. Not the ones that just say they know me or you've been my friend, whatever, but people who know me from years. And, don't have to ask me questions about who I am. Anybody has to do that, you don't know me. I used to help people like that. I used to bring because I had property, I owned houses. It's like I had everything, and I'm starting over. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. But what I'm saying is I used to help people and give out to them, and people would stay with me or whatever for a minute, then they would stack money and move on and do their own thing. And but it says in Hebrew, I can't remember the exact term of it, but it's talking about helping people out. This woman's talking about, does he understand that churches doesn't want homeless people? Like, really? Like, churches don't want homeless people? Churches are supposed to be the number one place that homeless people should get help from. Honestly, this is to be the number one place to get help from, because God says, help the blind, the weak, he's like, this doesn't make sense. I'm trying to understand. I wish I was more. I need to read the Bible again and be more, because I love reading the Bible. It's actually what made me be able to learn how to read. But this phrase, this right here, does he understand that churches doesn't want homeless people wandering inside their buildings looking for something to steal? What are they going to steal? Crucifix, statue of Jesus, candles. Like what is this? Like, you're claiming to be a Christian, but yet you don't understand that you're supposed to help out those in need. That's the number one thing of becoming, a Christian or a person that believes in God, is to try to look out for the weak, the elderly, and stuff like that. This half the reason why I created this show, Moral High Ground. Not just here, but mostly on Spotify, but before that, Anchor. Anchor was where I originally created Moral High Ground, but I planned to do Moral High Ground for a good 2 years before I did it. And I write down ideas. It was supposed to be faith-based, and in a way it kind of still is, but because I'm talking about what's morals. Morals come from God. Okay, but we all have different morals and different beliefs on things. That's why I usually say, what's morally right to you? And I was trying, at that point I was really biblically sound from reading the Bible, but I'm not so far away from the Bible or God to where I don't understand when I see something wrong. What she's saying is wrong, dumb, because it means she doesn't understand her faith, if she is Christian at all, when she doesn't understand God at all. It's just an understatement homeless churches don't want homeless people wandering inside their buildings looking for something to steal. That's not a Christian or it's not a person that believes in God would say, unless they're one of those people that think I'm perfect, I'm God, I got saved, so I'm perfect, I can do whatever I want. I hate that mentality. I hate that type of Christian person or that type of belief system that they think they're so superior to other people. If you live enough life and been around enough people and stuff, you realize that none of us is better than anybody. At any given time, something can be taken from you or given to you to change your life dramatically. Okay, it doesn't matter how somebody looks, how tall they are, how powerful they are. It comes down to your intellect, your kindness, and the way you go about doing things in a way that may benefit or you know what I'm saying, just guide people on the right path. And so someone like this is probably why the city is cursed with the burden it has. It's because they think like this. And that's all I gotta say about it. But some people need God to understand that this way of thinking isn't right. And it's morally wrong. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's not the public's issue. He asked for $28 million to do this whole thing around shelters, and that including the pews. The idea that we now have to give more to implement his plan is just simply ridiculous.
It's the top issue. It's been the top issue for over a decade, and there's a lot of things that happen as a result of the fact we haven't fixed it yet. So let's get behind this guy, give him a shot. He said December 1st. Here's one more tool in the toolkit. Let's get on board, or if you don't like it, guess what? Don't volunteer. There's a shocking message.
Okay.
So that's that video. I'm blown. My mind is blown. And it's just blown from that one little criticism this woman was saying about, I mean, because churches are supposed to, when you give money in churches, you're supposed to give tidings. And it's like you're giving tidings to the elderly. There's some story, a church story, about an elderly woman who kept coming in, giving a penny every day, donating a penny or something to the church. And then like one day she needed something and she got bread and stuff tenfold or whatever because she kept giving, but it was like, just give what you can type of thing. But it wasn't to back then when churches did the tidings, it was to give to women that were widows, like their husband died and they had kids and they couldn't find work or stuff, so they would give money in tidings like them, or elderly women and stuff, and elderly people, period. And so that's what they would give tidings for. Nowadays, people don't understand that, and they didn't do the biblical research. Because when you really get into the Bible, okay, it doesn't, you don't just stick with just the Bible, you go a little bit to what time period was this created. Oh, bronze was created this time. So then you go look for the time period where bronze was created, and you go, oh, it was created in something AD. And then you find out everything else that was going on in the world in that time, and you start understanding the significance of things. And it goes a little bit beyond that. You start understanding different cultures, different things. So, I mean, the Bible isn't just a book. It's a book of not just about mankind's connection with God, okay? Because many people just say it's Jesus, and Jesus isn't that. Or this one girl told me one time, it's just about one family bloodline. It goes beyond all that. And it connects everything in the world. You just got to do more research. You know, you go, I went to Hebrew studies, and I learned about, because you hear about it all the time when you read the Bible, the tabernacle. I went to Hebrew studies, like, I think it was the first day or two they talked about this tabernacle, and I understood. It was like, whoa, it's like an outside temple church thing that you would walk into, and everything was made perfect in this tabernacle for you to come and worship and believe. It's amazing. Then I learned about the 7 prophecies, just like the 7 scrolls they talk about in Revelations. The prophecy part is I can dig it. Okay, and I mean, I went to multiple things looking for the truth, and it became a journey of every day was just God, just understanding God and learning things, and then trying to trying to understand humanity, because I see so many flaws, but so many things that could be fixed so easily. Big hope I have for humanity. But do I like what I see? Do I want to indulge with people? Hell no. I don't like it. I don't like what I see. So it's like things I talk about here. It's like things I'm tired of and don't see that works. And I don't know. I just believe if you go to church, you can listen to the preacher, but I'm saying that if you truly want to understand God, you got to do the research yourself. You got to pick that Bible up. And not just understand God, humanity. The main key is your humanity. Okay, there's stuff in that you have to learn. So you need to learn in the Bible. You don't care how smart you think you is, how wise you think you are, how much you think you know about God or don't. You know, a lot of people use God and as a way to punish people, but it's not your place. It's God's place to punish. Okay? Your place is to try to just share the knowledge, you know, and give people the options to think, am I doing the right thing or not? You know? And so that's where you gotta go with that, you know? And I'm just like, you know, it goes beyond that. Once you start learning where things are, who did what person wrote this part of the Bible, who was Nebuchadnezzar, is Nebuchadnezzar really his son? You find out it's actually his great grandson, like 4 generations down. If you do some other research outside, and you learn, you know, and you learn a lot of stuff, you know, about Mesopotamia, and about the Samaritan texts, you know, all this stuff. I know all this stuff, but yet I don't talk about it like other Christians and stuff do, because I believe that, because other Christians do that, like I said, they'll use it to belittle people who are like, you know, they'll mock something. There's a person, I ain't gonna say names, but, and a young individual, really young, not even close to as many decades as I've been on this toilet earth, but sat around, as soon as they found out about God, oh, I know about God, and I kept trying to tell this individual, hey, you gotta slow down there, you can't do it like that. And then when I try to explain something biblical to this person, oh, this, you know, you know, no, you're not honoring God or anything like that, you don't understand. And then not too long after that, this individual had some kind of medical issue. So it's because I believe God works through not just blessings and prayers, but in karma sense, because good things happen to people who do good things, but bad things do happen, and it bites someone in the butt when you do bad things constantly to other people. And that's why a lot of people are in misery and suffering, and that can't be forgotten when it comes to this homeless situation as well. Some people are out there because they've done so bad and shunned their family. Like I said, they didn't got rid of their IDs because they did crimes, things like that. So I mean, you have to, there's always something going on, you know. People will judge based off how you look and not know where your connections lie with God or knowledge, period. And did they really care? No. Because everybody's got their own selfish ignorance going on. And it's not good for anybody. So, let's skip past this. Hopefully I'm making some kind of sense tonight. Or today. Let's see, where was I? The next one I was going to play. So, I'm not going to get too deep into this guy. But, this guy, okay, it's a commercial about to play. Let's get through this stupid commercial first.
I don't have time for bullshit, so I use a no bullshit pan. I am Chef Sam Talbot. I've been cooking for 37 years. What the hell is a titanium pan? I'm good.
64.
So this guy, I played his video before on this channel. He got his own channel. He, just like me, he's covering the homeless situation. He's covering all these other situations going on. He gets heard from more than I do, apparently. doesn't have haters copywriting and stuff for no reason. And I was like, true, we got haters out here. And it doesn't make any sense because I'm not doing anything but trying to state my opinions or whatever. But anyway, he says something I've said a billion times on Moral High Ground, both video versions and audio versions, and it blew my mind. And right there I was like, damn it, no one wants to hear it from me. Maybe because of color of my pigmentation, or they just don't like me. But I done said it so many times that it's funny to me that this man said it and knows exactly what he's talking about, because it's obvious a thing if you're in the city, you know what's being said, and I mean what you can see, you know. But anyway,
64-year-old Portland business owner. He erects a tent outside City Hall.
Okay, so this, let me go back. So this is the guy. Okay, so where they put this night shelter, this guy owns this businesses right next to it. He's been owning it for years, decades. And all of a sudden they say they're going to put this night shelter there so people can be there at night. This guy decides to protest against it, and all this crap happens. So this is what he's going to be talking about. That's what I mentioned in the beginning. So here we go.
64-year-old Portland business owner. He erects a tent outside City Hall protesting a homeless shelter coming into his community. He is arrested and he is jailed. Meanwhile, homeless people, urban living all throughout the city, just doing their thing. No trespassing, no jailing, no nothing. Yeah. How does this make any sense? It doesn't. Oh, let's talk about it anyway. Here we go. In what world? Oh yeah, let's this guy's outside making a protest.
So yeah, I mean, listen to what he's saying. He's not lying about none of this, okay? It doesn't even make sense. Homeless people doing whatever the hell they want. And this guy that's trying to stand up for his business or whatever is getting, you know, put in jail. When these other guys can run around trashing businesses and never get put in jail.
Literally. And they're saying, he's trespassing. Make this make sense, right? Make it make sense. It doesn't.
Have to know the owner of the Oro Apartments in the Pearl District is camping outside City Hall. It's in protest of a new overnight shelter opening next Tuesday next door to his property.
He says the Northwest Northrop shelter is going to hurt his business and the community because it's low barrier and more people will be able to use it. K2's Bambi Verma joins us from City Hall.
Low or no barrier. Most of these are no barrier, meaning there are zero restrictions for the individuals that are staying in these shelters. There's zero restrictions, other than you can't actually use drugs in the facility itself. But beyond that, you got people that are just absolutely whacked out of their mind, because this is that whole housing first thing. If you take somebody that's mental and a criminal and a drug addict and you put them in housing, everything will magically just work its way out.
So he's saying exactly what I've been saying forever right there. That's it. Right there. I've been saying it forever. Homeless people need to be rehabilitated before they take housing. They have to. He's just saying it in a more funny way, like, you know, being sarcastic, you know, oh, if we just take these people and put them out, oh, that'll fix themselves. But it's saying the same shit I'm saying, but not in a sarcastic, humorous way, whatever. I've been saying it forever. But if you in the situation, he's probably out there too, dealing with the homeless people, worked a job with them or something, and realize this ain't right. And so he's doing the same thing I'm doing, where we talk about the homeless people. And you can go through my playlist. I got tons of this stuff, y'all. It doesn't matter if you're on Spotify and you go to Moral High Ground, you'll see I got tons of crap. And you can go in here and the same thing. Okay, but I do mention multiple times over that they need to have some kind of rehabilitation thing before you house these people. You can't just house them and say, okay, everything's fine, because then you'll end up with a house burnt down, because they be burning stuff for no reason. They'll do all kinds of shit.
And it doesn't. It's a wildly flawed theory, and that is why Portland is a wildly flawed city, along with cities like Seattle, San Francisco, LA, anywhere you got a big city that has followed this mentally retarded logic, which is, just get my house, or harm reduction. All harm, no reduction. Let's get going.
Where the owner is camping, and Thumby explained to us why he set up his camp.
Oh commercial things. But he's right, that's the thing too. So, you know, I heard it before that Portland has been a place where they start new ideas and then they transfer to other states, like Seattle. Sometimes Seattle's the one that starts it. Like Seattle had some kind of thing with criminals, and then they passed over here and it started happening. And then the same thing with vice versa, just all across the country. I was going to say Nevada, because there was something with Nevada that happened. And Nevada, however you want to say it. And either way, it doesn't make any sense. None of them should be doing things to make, make things right for people who ain't right. You know, I mean, what are we living for if no one can live comfortably and the right can be wrong and the wrong can be right? You know, this is a biblical thing too, if you want to look it up. It's in Romans in the Bible. It's one of the first chapters. It's the first chapter itself. Within there, they tell you when good things become bad, bad things become good. That's a way of explaining how the end is near and that wickedness is running the thing.
How do I manage to be 76 and still glow like I'm 30? Well, my advice is...
the way he did.
So, Deb, interesting update. So, the owner of the Oro Apartments, Paul Rudinsky, he's no longer camping here. We've been trying to get a hold of him, so we're working to confirm what happened with that. But I'll give you the run-through. He was camped right here, about 15 yards away from those City Hall doors, and he was trying to make a point because he says that once the new homeless shelter comes into place, that homeless people will be lined up about 15 yards away from his place of business. So again, just showing them how it would feel. Now let's talk about this new shelter that's opening up. It is technically low barrier, which means you don't have to be sober, though drugs are prohibited. The shelter will also use a reservation system where people are guaranteed their bed from the night before for the next night.
See, that's the thing right there. I mean, you guys have heard this now. I don't play that same conversation multiple times. But the thing is that the whole not having you can be high as hell and go in there, that's the big problem that's going to make this thing fall. That they're letting people who's going to be inebriated, under the influence, you know what I'm saying, high, whacked out, like he said, and they're gonna go in there and they're gonna fight with people. They're gonna cause problems with staff to where people don't want to volunteer or work that is paid to work there. None of it's good. That's the key factor that's gonna be bad.
The city says people are discouraged from lining up more than an hour before it opens each night at 8. It will close at 6 a.m. the next day. The apartment owner is concerned about people lingering in the area during the day. So the city says there's already hundreds of people who are homeless in that area. So what's the difference if they have a place to stay at night versus what it is now?
Yeah, well, the Pearl District right now is the worst I've seen it in 4 years. In the last...
And I keep hearing that time and time and time again. Pearl District. And that's why I know about it, because I've been reading about it. The Pearl District, not in tip-top, stellar condition. So this guy's a business owner, and he's like, well, this isn't going to help out. Might as well go pitch my tent downtown. Little did he know, yep, you're going to be arrested for urban camping.
Yeah, that's jacked up. You're going to arrest a regular citizen for urban camping, but like, the homeless people can camp anywhere they want. Wow.
Anyway.
2 to 4 weeks, it's gotten exponentially worse. And the whole reason being that I think they're allowing the tents and the people to congregate there, and even telling people ahead of time about the homeless shelter coming there. So people are coming there looking for resources and stuff, and they won't find it because all it is an overnight shelter with no additional resources.
An overnight shelter with no additional resources, from his point of view, and then they say they have tons of resources, which you don't believe because the mayor says they need help to get more resources and things. And it's just a whole bunch. I mean, what is really going on? That's the title I gave this episode, because what is really going on here? Is this really help? Or is this just like false hope? Or is this just a way to say, okay, we're putting a band-aid on the situation for now. Everything will be fine. Maybe it will heal over. Or maybe it will just bust like a gusher. You know, like, what's happening?
We reached out to the city and they sent us back a statement saying that they're working with nearby businesses, including the Oro Apartments. The city spokesperson says that a lot of their concerns are based off of what they're experiencing now, which is homeless individuals that may be having behavioral and mental crises in or around their businesses. Here's what Mayor Wilson had to say about the shelter last month.
When you have a community issue, they will be addressing it. We will start small, we will make it right, we will meet your needs, and we will exceed your expectations.
And how is that working so far? How is that working? What is your commercial vacancy rate in downtown Portland? What is your incoming business convention business like? It's the second worst in the United States.
So this guy knows his shit. Now he's saying something that I don't even hit on that much, but yeah, the commercial businesses and stuff, or commercials, commercial businesses, okay, businesses. This when you say, residential means, for those of you guys that don't know, residential means houses, like families live in houses, people live in houses. Commercial zones represent businesses like retail businesses, hardware stores, whatever. Those are commercial. Industries, usually industry like factories, factories, manufacturer companies, things like that. So he's talking the truth. What does it look like downtown? A lot of businesses are running out of this city. A lot of them are complaining on the news. There's a lot of stuff that's happening. One place closed down because there was a guy that came in and pretended to be friendly since the opening, and then one day changed up one sour on him, probably because he was high on meth, but he was able to contain himself to make himself look like a normal citizen long enough to prove that he was insane. And there's lots of other businesses like that are falling apart. I mean, I'm just trying to get to the last part where they talk about how this guy gets arrested.
For people coming from Canada, only to be outdone by the worst being Seattle. You've got a bunch of stuff going on in your cities that is preventing people from coming in, and it's because you've got policies like this where, hey, let's just, in an already overrun area, let's jam a few more hundred people with mental issues and with drug addiction issues and with crime issues. Let's just dump them in this community without any real wraparound services, and we'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens. So
this is like, he's pretty much explaining shit in a way I would do it, but in a different way. This is the same shit. It's funny to me because I'd be doing it, and it's semi-similar to me. It's just he's doing it in a more different way. I mean, I can go on deep about it. And I'm just going to break it down. This guy had built a tent in front of the city hall. And you saw him doing it here on this video. Trying to prove his point. He ends up getting busted. I don't know how far into it is. Let's see. But yeah, because I'm not going to play his whole video. I don't want to get no copyright thing going here. Let's see, maybe this is it.
The city says that the shelter will help address some of those root causes that will help keep people off the streets. Reporting live in downtown, Dhanvi Verma, K2 News.
So dumb.
So yeah, so that's pretty much the end of that video. I'm not gonna. I mean, there's a lot more, but go to his channel if you know who he is, and he's got a lot of good insights on the stuff that's going on in Portland as well. Me personally, in my opinion, it's all morally wrong, and to address something like this, you gotta truly think of it, not just have a half-assed thing. You have to have more minds that actually analyze things in a different setting. Maybe ask, someone that actually, builds properties, what they think could happen, or ask some of the homeless people what they think they truly need. Ones that are trying to get off the street, not the ones that are trying to live there and stay there and take up city resources and times and money, because that's half the reason why there's so much money being put out there, is because a lot of these people are using up all the money and taking advantage of things by being a squatter and all this, so this is a whole bad situation. We want to make this situation to where everything's good for everybody, not just certain people, And so, what I'm saying is, Okay. What I'm saying is, if I can get in this right thing, because I'm trying to work it out something here. I don't know if that's the right one. Maybe not. Let me see. This one. It's this. I'm gross, that's okay. But so, yeah, like, there's certain things that people are asking for, certain things people need, certain things the city can do, but I don't think there's enough intelligence being passed around to actually fix situations, and I think it's getting out of control. And I believe that a lot of people need help and guidance in ways that hasn't been thought of. And even the ways that have been thought of, I don't think they've been thought of good enough to actually be put into place. Like this day shelter thing's not good enough thinking if you think people can just be loaded and walk in a place that makes it unsafe. You don't know what these other people will carry because you're not gonna stand to see if they have weapons. So you're putting them in a place where someone might be in danger. You know, that's the way I look at it. And then when it comes down to the whole situation of trying to ask for donations and you have so much large amounts of money coming to the city, something's not right there either. So I mean, I just don't know. And so I really don't know what's going on here. And I'm just saying because look at what's happening. You tell me, do you think you know what's happening? And if you do, leave a message or a comment. But for me, I have no idea what's really going on. Do I think it's morally right? Some cases and some cases not. To like explain that, well, maybe, but from watching this, you understand what I believe may and may not be right. So, with that being said, this has been Moral High Ground. I have no idea what else to say about this situation, but I know if people want to take this seriously, they need to come together and actually maybe hold some kind of giant group meeting and talk about the problems that are happening in this city and find a way to eliminate them. And I don't think it costs hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. If anything, it costs. I'll give you a max amount. That max amount, I believe, that would help homeless people would be $7 million, not $700 million. Not all that. And the reason why I say $7 million because you just certain things that has to be built. Okay, and that would be a mental facility, a rehab facility, maybe a couple or both. They had to build at least like duplexes or motel type environments to get these people housed. Okay, and I don't think that would be a lot better. Maybe take an old motel and turn it into a shelter type of thing. I believe that they have to be away from the city, so taking some land that no one uses that considered to be reasonable or developable to be made into a small town, because that's what you got. If you have 15,000 homeless people, that's a small town. I've said it so many times. Even before it was 15,000 and 6,000, it's still a small town. So go ahead and make that town. And forget about keep adding things into the city. Eugene, Oregon was a town that was created by people who were homeless. So I mean, it's like it could happen. So with that being said, this has been Moral High Ground. Peace be with you guys. Blessings upon you. Until next time, I'm out. And let's take